Hello, and welcome to another installment of GRE Tips. Today I'm going to talk about the low-hanging fruit. You've maybe heard of this expression before, but if you haven't, think of it this way. I have an apple tree, hundreds of apples on my apple tree, a huge tree, 50, 60 feet high, and I'm going to give you $1,000 for every apple you can pick in 5 minutes. What are you going to do? Well, you are going to go for the low-hanging fruit, meaning you're going to try to get the fruit that's really low. You're not going to climb all the way to the top of my 50, 60-foot apple tree. Instead, you're going to climb as little as possible and grab as many apples as you can because you want $1,000 for each one of those apples. Now, let's move this from metaphor land, or actually literal land, to metaphor land, meaning this stands for something in GRE or on the GRE. What could that possibly be? Well, think of it this way. X squared equals 9. X is a positive number. What does X equal? You may think, oh, that's easy. That is the really low-hanging fruit. Versus, what is 100 factorial minus 99 factorial minus 98 factorial to the 100th power? Well, yeah, it's going to take a while because that, metaphorically speaking, is the fruit way at the top of the tree. There's really no point in getting unless you picked all the other fruit. Here's the important part. On the GRE, every question is weighted the same. That means if I was paying you $1,000 for Apple, it's the same thing on the GRE. You get the same number of points per question regardless of how difficult that question is. So the first one I asked you, x squared equals 9x is a positive number, same number of points as that crazy factorial one. And that's mind-blowing because that is really going to inform the way you take the test, the way that you pace yourself. You're going to want to scroll to easier questions when possible. Or at least if there's a really hard question, don't sit there knocking your head against the computer for 5 minutes. Skip it. Move on to one of the low-hanging fruits and get points that way. Very important on both the math and the verbal section because I was just doing math right now in terms of examples, but this applies to the verbal section as well. Every question is weighted the same. Go for the low-hanging fruit.